I saw a commercial post at the train station of an insurance company showing a grandpa wearing a Panama hat, and on one arm he had his grandchild, and in his other hand he had a model sailboat. So I said, yeah, this could be me in a few years.
From northern New York, western Vermont, Ontario, Quebec, and beyond, this is Northwards from North Country Public Radio. Introducing you to people you should know, stories you should hear, and ideas that should stick in your mind. I'm Mitch Tyke, and our producer is Ethan Shanty.
Support for the Northwards podcast comes from the J.C. Steiniger and M.E. McDonald Charitable Fund at Adirondack Community Foundation in support of the Adirondack Community Foundation, building stronger Adirondack communities.
Look, I'm going to take it off now. I'm going to put it back on. Wait, it's going to make a clicking noise. It's not. What happened to the... Oh, there.
Let's talk about something else.
Mitch? Yes?
Go ahead.
I at the risk of sounding topical for this episode of Northwards, were you a model builder as a child?
Yes and no. If we're saying that Lego counts as models...
I think Lego probably counts as models.
I love Lego.
You love Lego so much that you use the appropriate singular for Lego
it is
as
not
opposed
plural.
to Legos.
Yeah, which was a hard lesson to learn. I had to train myself out of it. I have a one of my prized possessions is a Lego Krusty Burger from The Simpsons.
Oh, wow.
It is. Have I shown you this?
No.
It is so crazy detailed, you would not believe it. Down to the grease that is coming off of the fryers.
That's amazing.
It's funny. I run those DIY concerts in Potsdam, and one day it was Friday. I usually take off work a little bit early on those days that it happens so I can get there and not be super stressed out. And I was running behind. I was pulling out of my driveway, and I saw that there was a big box leaning against my front door. And I thought, oh, Aaron must have ordered something. And I picked it up, and there was Lego stamped on the front of it. And I was like, Lego? Who bought Lego? And so I brought it inside. I was like, I can't just let this sit outside. And also my curiosity is piqued. So brought it inside, took a knife. I opened up the tape, and I saw that there was a Lego set for the Krusty Burger from The Simpsons inside. And I was like, I know that this thing costs like $300 at least. And so I called Aaron really quick and I was like, I love you so much. Please tell me that you didn't just spend $300 on a Lego set for me. And she started laughing and she said, no, it wasn't me. It was our friend Sean. Apparently, Sean.
Oh, well, that's okay.
That's
Hi,
fine,
Sean.
I
Thanks
guess.
for having disposable income.
Right. Well, so I asked her, I was like, why did Sean buy me Lego? And she called. So her and Sean had talked a couple weeks prior, and he said, I haven't gotten Ethan a birthday present in like 15 years, and I feel bad. And I saw an ad for this Lego Krusty Burger, and I thought he would like it. And do you think he would like it? And she was like, are you insane? He's obsessed with The Simpsons. He would love this. So he sent it to me, and I called him, and I thanked him profusely. But I was honestly a little irritated when I got it because all I wanted to do from that moment is just stay home and play with this Lego set and build it.
Moral of the story, never take a package off your porch right before a concert.
Right, exactly. And then what's even worse is that it was a beautiful weekend. It was like the first gorgeous weekend we had all summer. So I had to force myself to leave the house because I knew that if I started building this set, I would do it all day long and I would have wasted the weekend. And now it's sitting on top of my stereo speaker at home. Prized possession.
We should absolutely put a picture of this on the Northwards website.
Yeah, I'll show it to you after our conversation. So
amazing. So the reason I asked...
A model builder, I'm not really, but...
Well, I think that counts.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask, I was, I went through a phase probably between the time I was like 7 and like 10 or 11 where I would go out and I would actually like save my money from doing chores around the house and buy a model kit from there was a model store up at the Glenmont Plaza.
Did you prefer cars, planes?
It really a little of both. I feel like I had a yellow Opel GT.
Okay.
Which was a 1970s sports car that I built from a kit.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember one year, I don't remember how old I was, probably 7 or 8. My parents got me a model of the Goodyear blimp.
Were you a Goodyear fan?
Well, right. Yeah, I was always dissing Firestone and Michelin, and I was like, Goodyear. No, the cool thing that was supposed to be about this
Oh.
was, so the Goodyear blimp, iconic blimp flies over sporting events.
Yeah.
And back in the day, and the day being the 70s and early 80s, like the Goodyear blimp not only flew over sporting events, but it had like a big electronic sign on it.
Right.
And this model
Oh.
allowed you to make, keeping in mind this was the 70s, so it wasn't so advanced that it was really an electronic sign. What it was like a screen, and then there was this, it was almost like one of those Scantron tests.
Okay.
Like you would fill in little bubbles.
Oh.
And in the shape of the letters you wanted, and it had a scroll inside.
Cool.
And it was supposed to, there was a little light bulb inside that would illuminate it. And it never really, it will not surprise you to learn that it never really worked right. In fact, it was probably a fire hazard. But I think
a cool
I got
concept anyway.
It was a cool concept, and I think it was one of those things that it worked like a couple of times right after I made it, and then probably like the little model glue got in the engine
mechanism,
or something, in the motor. So that was probably the most sophisticated model I ever made. I also had a model. It was not a very large model, so it strikes me it couldn't have been that sophisticated, but I had a model of an aircraft carrier that sat on my dresser for years. It was probably like 1/10,000th scale or something, but the thing, I never got really good at painting models. I would kind of stick with whatever color the plastic was because I was just not a good painter. And then I would, like they had these decals that you had to get wet and sort of paint on.
Right.
I was never somebody that could build something from scratch like that.
Right.
If you walked in and said, here 10,000 matchsticks, now build the Eiffel Tower.
It's like, well, I'm going to go outside and read instead.
Right, exactly.
I think for me, and the reason that Lego is different for me is that, my parents were always, getting me into different things. Like, they bought me like a telescope one year, and it was like, oh, okay. It kind of was interesting for like a month. And, there were occasions where they actually did buy me model like cars and stuff, but I wasn't really into cars. And, they're just testing the waters with everything, right? And I think for me, what I'm realizing is that like the reason Lego is different is that I can play with it.
Right.
Whereas like a model, it was just like, oh, it's just going to sit there
Right.
now, kind of, or I'm going to suspend it from the ceiling. So I think that's why my interest kind of waned in model building specifically. Whereas, like, the Lego set that I have now for the Krusty Burger, it does just sit there. But when I was a kid, I would have played with it. So, kind of scratch that nostalgia itch. But the one other weird thing before we get to our guests, because I know that you want to do that, is my parents got me, there was this craze for a while of 3D puzzles. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
And so one year they bought me a 3D Sphinx. And it was cool in concept, but very frustrating because I think I was like 7. And this was
right, and it's like for ages 17 and up, probably.
Definitely. And so I put it together using the cheat sheet. And then the next year they got me a 3D model of Darth Vader. And I was so frustrated by the Sphinx that I never opened it. And so the next year they just wrapped it again and gave it to me again as a goof. And I think one of my brothers put it together. I didn't. I was not very amused by that. I was like, oh, I got this gigantic heavy box. It weighs like 40 pounds. Oh, the same puzzle I didn't want last year. Cool.
And that is why we call you the Sphinxter.
That, rather you didn't call me that. Okay, who are we talking to?
Well, the reason we were talking about models is this week's episode of Northwords takes us on a trip to the Antique Boat Museum in Clayton, New York, down in the Thousand Islands. We actually, NCPR had a meeting of our advisory board there a couple of months ago, and one of the great side benefits was they gave us a tour of this place. And one of the rooms they took us to, one of the buildings, because it's a whole complex, was, interestingly enough, called the E.J. Noble Building.
Oh.
And that's interesting because you and I are sitting in the E.J. Noble Building ourselves.
But if that's the E.J. Noble Building, then how can Mr. Noble was a generous guy?
A lot of nobility.
Yes.
So anyway, the Noble Building, as we'll hear in the interview, actually it's a couple of interviews that we'll hear, was formerly the power plant for the village of Clayton. But then it became a boat building room. And today, so when the meeting was happening there wasn't much going on. They were getting ready for the annual visit of the museum's builder in residence. Who for the last 3 years, it's sort of an unprecedented situation. The same builder has come back 3 years in a row to build models of boats.
Cool.
It's a guy named Julius Faubel. He is from the Munich area in Germany, and he is not somebody that needs a kit to build his models. He is definitely not somebody who needs
The
a
cheat
kit.
sheet, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he does have a cheat sheet. It is the blueprints of the original boats that he's working from.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and he can scale them down and make bespoke parts for them and turn them into these beautiful working small-sized watercraft.
Cool.
So I learned about this project while we were there a few months ago and thought, well, hey, I really ought to bring a recorder down and speak to the man when he comes back to town. But to kind of explain the Builder in Residence program in general and the significance of the boat that Julius Faubel is building, or the model of the boat that he's building, we spoke with Rebecca Hopfinger. She is the executive director of the Antique Boat Museum. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes to talk.
We're delighted to have you here, Mitch. Thank you.
Why is the Builder in Residence program important to what this museum is about?
Initially, it was about a living exhibit and bringing to life this space in which Julius is referred to. It's the historic E.J. Noble stone building right in the heart of our campus. And aside from entering the museum and interacting with a human at the admissions, this is sort of the first place that our visitors come where they see another human, and to have that contact and that interaction and to be able to hear and feel and smell and in some cases touch, what's happening here at the museum is so meaningful.
This is a historic building. Could you tell me a little about what this building has been about over the years?
So the building actually served as the powerhouse to the village of Clayton at one time. For the museum, it's really been the centerpiece of the campus. And we have had boat restorations, boat building, builders in residence. In the day, we used to have a party or two in here as well. But at this point, it's really restricted to our building and our builder in residence.
If I understand correctly, I think this boat and the boat from last year, the Comet, are boats from the collection here at the Boat Museum, but they are not in the same condition that the models are in.
Correct. So Comet actually is one of our permanent collection artifacts, and it was a decision not only by the collections committee, but also the desire of the donors to keep it as a gray boat. So to keep it in that preserved state as it was found. And we've done some work on it just to stabilize it, if you will, and we haven't hidden those stabilization pieces, but use them as an example visually of where things might have been weakened or missing in the past. And so the lines were taken, and that's what provided Julius the information that he needed to build that exact model of Comet.
The model shows the way the ideal Comet.
Or the original Comet, right? Before it became gray. So yes, absolutely. And although Comet is not on display this year in the stone building, as Julius was building it, we did have Comet on display as well. So it is a wonderful thing to see what it once was and what it is today. And despite all of those people that would like to see what it could be again, we are preserving that one in its current state. And you can imagine then, based on Julius's model, which is kind of a nice piece of the story.
Well, and then what about the Pardon Me? What is the significance of the Pardon Me in the museum's collection?
Well, the part of me was donated to us by Jim and Tony Lewis, and they had over 50 boats in their private collection through the years. They made the gift to the museum, and it's been a huge asset, if you will, just in terms of popularity. It is, by our anecdotal measurements, one of the most popular vessels that we have in the permanent collection. And the significance is it was designed by John L. Hacker, and it was built by Hutchinson Boat Works right in Alexandria Bay. So another, wonderful boat builder from the times right on the river and in the river community.
So how did the museum find Julius, and why is this his third year here?
Oh, that's a great question, and we are delighted that Julius is back for his third year. So the Builder in Residence program started in the late 90s. I was then serving as the curator of the museum, and had an underwriter that was interested in seeing the craftsmanship, continue and have that interaction in this building. Loved the building, loved being able to see boats built, and so underwrote our first Builder in Residence, who was Aaron Turner. And the first boat that we built in the program was later named Margaret G., which is actually the name of the underwriter's mother. And Margaret G. then became part of our working fleet. It is a model of a skinny Atlas sailboat, and it's part of what we offer in the summer months for sailing. And so the Builder in Residence just sort of persisted, if you will. We had the funding. There was a period of time when it went away, and as I became executive director in 2016, one of the goals was to bring back the Builder in Residence. And so we were able to do that a few years ago and had an individual come and build a reproduction of a St. Lawrence sailing skiff, which was great. And then opened up the call for Builders in Residence, and Julius responded, and the rest, as they say, is history, But because of some transitions with our boat rights and the energies placed on our new building for boat building, I didn't want to burden our new boat right with having to work hard at trying to find a new Builder in Residence. And here we have Julius, who has given every ounce of his heart and soul to his projects here at the museum. It was a no-brainer to bring him back. And actually, even after his first year, we had people asking, will Julius be back? So it just seemed to make sense to have him continue with the model boats, and because of his infectious enthusiasm, it's a great opportunity for our visitors to interact with him.
Do you have visitors that come throughout the course of the season to see how this has progressed?
I believe we do. I mean, I'm not down here, of course, on a daily basis, but Julius, I'm sure, has a fan club and people coming back in to check in on him and the progress of the boat. And what's so meaningful is, as he said, he doesn't build this to not go in the water. And so I think this year, when we do the launch of Pardon Me, we do have to have a special party and a little launching party for the whole thing, and to celebrate Julius's run here as the Builder in Residence for the last 3 years.
So that was Rebecca Hopfinger. She is the executive director of the Antique Boat Museum in Clayton, New York. And now let's meet the Builder in Residence, who comes all the way from Munich, Germany. It's Julius Faubel, who is working on a model of the boat called the Pardon Me. Thank you so much for meeting me in this workshop.
You're welcome, and it's a pleasure telling the story about the project and basically a few things about the Antique Boat Museum too.
Well, I think the first question I'd like to ask actually is a little about you. How did you go from being a software engineer to being a model boat builder?
Easy answer. I was in need of a counterbalance to my job, and software is all virtual, abstract, and it's all brain work, more or less. I wanted something to touch, something physical, and showing a certain beauty.
Did you have an existing interest in old boats?
Yes, for a long time. My father used to be a cartwright, and we always had wood and tools in our house. And the first thing my father he did me a toy I could put on a string, and it was a little boat, and I went to a stream nearby our house, and this is still something going back. Yeah, it's deep in me.
And so at what point, how long have you been building boats?
I started 15 years ago. I saw a commercial post at the train station of an insurance company showing a grandpa wearing a Panama hat, and on one arm he had his grandchild, and in his other hand he had a model sailboat. So I said, yeah, this could be me in a few years. And yeah, this idea accompanied me a while, and I was sure I don't want to do kids. Everyone has kids and can do kids, and this is not deep diving, and my nature is I like to go deep.
Well, and kits are limiting in the sense that you have to work with the idea that whoever made the kit wants you to go with.
Yeah, correct. This is, and I modify my boats because I'm the builder in this specific situation, and see how I can improve it to make fitting it my needs. Yeah.
Well, if not for building kits, how did you do it?
The first place was I need drawings from a professional, and there are several sources where I found the drawings, and at the same time my son became an architect, and he bought a CNC mill, and he started quite quick and successful, so he left the CNC to me, and I had to learn how to get along with CAD and CAM, and I thought, hey, why not using this for my own purposes? Yeah.
For folks for people who don't know, what is a CNC mill?
It's a table with X, Y, and Z axis driving a motor where you put milling bits in, and you have to find out about how deep it does it at the first run, and how many runs you need to dig into it to cut the wood or the material, and it's cut based.
It sounds like you went deep very early in the process.
Yes, but not with boats, with architectural models. Yeah.
Well, and so what was the first boat that you made?
This was a sailboat, the smallest sailboat class at the Olympic Games 1936 in Berlin. Quite nice boat, but a model sailboat doesn't scale to a real sailboat because you do not need waves on one hand, but you need wind. And so there's only a few days in a year where the wind matches the sailboat. Yeah.
At what point did you connect with the Antique Boat Museum? How did you end up here 3 years ago?
After the sailboat, I found a lot of nice powerboats in the U.S. History, beginning with Chris Craft, very famous boat brand and manufacturer, and of course, then I came along Hacker, and I studied his life. He was German too, and the Lineman brothers were Germans too. So there was a connection to American mahogany powerboats. And one day I found the Pardon Me in a model internet platform describing all the technical details and how the guy did it. And in the meantime, I met this man in this workshop. Last year he came in and introduced him to me, and it was just meeting friends I have not known before. Yeah, using drawings digging into it, and especially Pardon Me is a very interesting project because I read the book about Pardon Me. You can buy it at a museum shop, and it's 80% of the book is about gossip, means telling the stories about the owners, and only 20% is about the Packard motor and how it performed.
Could we go take a look at it in an audio way? So tell me where things are at this point.
It starts at the bowl and it ends at the transom. Okay.
As most boats do.
Front end and rear end. And this section in the middle will have the motor in it and the rudder near to the transom. And it has two cockpits, a helm on the starboard side, port side, sorry, not starboard side, and another cockpit for the passengers. And there is a connecting aisle. So you can move from one cockpit to the other cockpit, walking over the motor.
And you have architectural drawings of this to start with, a blueprint of this to start with?
Yeah. The good thing is, this man, Greg Rice, he introduced me to Library of Congress because Pardon Me was declared a piece of art, and the museum had a specialist working out new drawings. He measured it, and Todd Croteau did a fine job taking all the measures and created a very fine set of plans. And you can download the blueprints, the drawings from Library of Congress.
And from there, it just required scaling it to a degree that you were comfortable working.
Yes, I imported the PDFs, and I had to redraw all the lines to make it cat vectors, and then milling all the parts, the ribs, and find out whether they fit together and whether there are dents in the sides and the bottom and the deck. This was quite an interesting project, yes.
And the point you're at now is this is essentially a skeleton of a boat, but once you get to the point where you're putting the finishing touches, do I understand, is everything bespoke, if you will, handmade?
Everything is handmade, at least with my fingers on my computer in CAD. So I could not have done this project this summer without the support of Greg Rice and his friend. He gave me the STL files, the stereolithographic files, which I sent for broadcasting. I got it back and I had to send it, buff it, send it for chrome plating. A long story, and I tell you, 8 very intense months just to prepare the parts for the summer.
Well, so that was going to be my next question, actually. How long does it take to get to the point where you're ready to work when you get to Clayton?
8 months at home in my workshop, working 5 days a week, 8 hours minimum. So I really, my partner, she was not very happy about it, but I said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime situation, and I need to do it. And especially after I met the third owner of the boat and the author of the book. So and in combination with the mentioned Greg Rice, it was a must to leave something really valuable behind.
So when we started this conversation, you talked about what you were hoping to get from boat building that software engineering didn't provide. So at this stage of your boat building career, do you feel like you have achieved that feeling that you were looking for that software engineering did not have?
Just look at me.
You look like a very happy person.
Yes, I am. Yes. And especially in here, the river, the museum, the stuff, and the things I learned. It's not it's giving and receiving. I give, but I receive a lot. and the atmosphere. Just look around and you will see this is thrilling.
Well, yeah. So talk about that. What do you get from doing this? First of all, in this place, and secondly, in front of people who are watching you when you're working.
Getting watched is something I had to get along as a software engineer as well, because I installed software at different large companies, and they were always watching me, even if I have not seen them, because they traced what I have done. Anyway, do the things good, and then you don't have to worry about it. It will be good at the end.
Well, and in this case, you have people who are just really interested in what you're doing, and they're probably asking you questions while you do it.
Yes. This is entertainment. Entertaining the visitors is part of the job, and it needs you need to be a bit of a storyteller to get in touch with them. And I tell you, 50% of my time in here is just talking to people, and also showing them around and introduce them to the different storyboards, just to make them read the storyboard. Because I only tell them half of the story on the storyboard, the rest is on the storyboard.
Well, and so this must be, you could potentially be doing model boat building anywhere. Doing it in public, is it part of the appeal for you?
Yes and no, because when I applied as builder in residence, I had no idea about what it will look like. But it turned out, hey, it met my qualifications as a storyteller.
So when this interview is done, what is the part of this project you're working on today?
I have to install the little servo to find out about the appropriate height of the tube where this rudder goes in, so that the rudder lever is at the same height as the servo motor. Okay. Yeah, just adjusting the height.
And is this your stamp that's in here? Is that?
Yes, this is somebody. I had to attend a computer fair at Istanbul, and there was a graph artist, and you could put your name on a piece of paper, and he made me this, and I digitized it, and my laser cutter just, and it also says the year and ABM, and just to brand it a bit.
Well, and these are inside, so people may never see them.
Doesn't matter. It's in it, and it's in my memories, and that's enough.
Is there something about your approach to software engineering that you apply to your physical work on boats?
Yes, it is. It's definitely project work. In my job as a software engineer, I had to test the environment before I wrote a proposal for a solution. And you have to be precise all the time and very specific and careful what you say and what you don't say. This is the part of the storyteller in here. Finish the project, do the documentation, and this is step-by-step work.
Well, and at the end of the project, you have to be absolutely positive that everything that has led to this point is right. Otherwise, you have to go back and reverse engineer everything.
No, this is just an example. I prepared the ribs, and I stacked them together just to make sure I will not run into trouble here. So preparation is very important, and it worked out fine.
Let me ask a dumb question. Maybe these are all dumb questions, but will this boat, there's a motor, there's a rudder. Is there a point at which this boat will go in the water and do its stuff?
It is an absolute goal to me that a boat has to hit the water, otherwise it's just something catching the dust over the time. And the other part of the fun is I take one of my boats and go on the water. I have access to a motorboat in Bavaria on a lake not too far away from my home. And I take my grandkids and buy some snacks and drinks, and we go out on the water and let it run. Here is a video, and this shows how I did it, but it also shows how it runs on the water. And it has to create the similar wake, and it has to appear like a motorboat, otherwise it isn't a motorboat.
Well, and you were telling me before our interview started that you were trying to your goal was to make it sound like a motorboat as well.
Yeah, but the sound of a real motorboat, you cannot copy it. This is nothing you can duplicate. I left the idea behind, yeah.
Well, and if you did not know, so I'm looking at this video, and if you did not know you were looking at a video of a model, there are shots here where you would swear that you were looking at a full-size boat.
This is the goal. You got it.
Julius Faubel and Rebecca Hopfinger speaking to us from the Antique Boat Museum in Clayton, New York. Julius Faubel is a master boat model builder who is the museum's builder in residence for the summer. He is from Germany, and you can see pictures of what he was working on and learn more about the program at ncpr.org/Northwoods. Rebecca Hopfinger is the executive director of the museum, and they were very kind to let me nose around and see the building, the boat building in progress.
You ever been on a cruise ship?
Yes, sort of. Not
What do you mean,
like.
yes?
Well, so my wife and I, Gretchen, my wife,
I've heard
and
of her.
I, yes, she and I spent a few weeks in Scandinavia in 2002, which was, I think, before you were born, right?
Well, it's a little bit after I was born. I'm not that young.
Anyway, so we flew into Stockholm, but we were really starting our trip in Helsinki.
Okay.
So there is a cruise ship that goes from Stockholm to Helsinki, but it's like an 18-hour trip, and it's mostly overnight.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, I mean it's a big. It's got the shopping mall on board, and I still have a poker chip from that cruise ship that we got for free. It was in our room, and for some reason it has a picture of the actor Leslie Nielsen.
What? Why?
I don't know.
Are you serious? You still have this?
I still have it. It's still in the toiletry kit that I have had since we were on that trip in 2002.
It's got to be your good luck charm.
And,
poker chip.
yeah.
What's the dollar amount?
It might be €1. I'm not sure. And Leslie Nielsen is striking the following pose that people listening to this will not see.
Big thumbs up.
Yeah.
Wide grin. Leslie Nielsen.
Yes.
That's a dream I didn't know that I had, to someday be posing for a poker chip, on a
right?
cruise ship. Okay, so now I understand why you say you hadn't really been on a cruise ship.
It's not like
Doesn't
I was on a
count.
Carnival cruise in the Caribbean or something. Yeah.
I think Aaron wants to go on a cruise. I'm kind of terrified by the notion because the thought of deep sea creatures surfacing makes me want to crawl out of my skin.
By which you mean germs?
No, well, yeah, the germs freak me out too. I am a bit of a germaphobe, but you heard of Cthulhu, Eldritch Horror? I'm worried about that.
I think I'd be more worried about the germs, honestly. But the thing I don't get about the cruise ships, right?
Okay.
You're on this giant ship in the Caribbean or the Mediterranean or whatever, and the ship has like 10 swimming pools on it.
Right.
Does it not seem the slightest bit ironic? Like, I could be at a pool anywhere in the world, but I am instead swimming in a pool that is inside a really giant pool.
For fans of metafiction.
Yes, right, exactly. It's like a sideways skyscraper that floats.
Swimming with more steps.
Right, exactly. So let's wrap it up. Ethan, you want to tell us who produces this show?
I'll tell us who produces the show. Northwards is an NCPR podcast production. The show is written, produced, and edited by Mitch Teich with digital production supervision by me. I'm Ethan Shanty. Anna Williams-Bergen is our digital project specialist. She just made eye contact with me from the other studio, which was strange. Bill Hanel is our director of digital services, and our theme music is by the Wickmore Jazz Trio. of Plattsburgh. To hear more conversations, visit ncpr.org/northwards, where you can also support the show with a financial contribution. And if you have suggestions for future conversations, email Mitch at ncpr.org. This is NCPR, North Country Public Radio.